What is up, everyone, and welcome back to the Triple H podcast, Happy Hour Hoops. Just a two-man tonight, Jake and myself. Steve is on the IR, and it's a tough show for Steve to miss, guys, because his arch nemesis, the most evil man in basketball, if you're a Dallas Mavericks fan, Nico Harrison, has finally been relieved of his duties and fired by the Dallas Mavericks. News came out yesterday. The couple days before that, there was growing speculation. The murmurs were out there that this might be something that was going to happen. I think probably a lot of just realists and people who use logic thought that this would happen eventually, post Luca trade. But Jake, obviously, neither of the two of us are all that surprised. We wish Steve was here to scream his head off for a little bit and then be relieved. But where are you at with the Nico stuff?
So I want to flip it back to you quick because I had a
Yes,
question as I was
please.
thinking about this all day. What would it have taken? What would it have taken for him to keep his job? Even like, what would they have had to have done this year for him to stay? Like, and they started about as bad as they could have started, right? Like, it's just
Right.
not look good. But what would it have taken for him to keep his job? Even
See, so I was thinking about that when I was creating the doc today for the show. I I do think not large part of this because large part of this is just the Luca thing, and everything that's come since then. But I do believe them being pretty damn bad to start the season has a large part to do with this. I think if they came out and Flag is awesome in game one and they don't try to play him at point guard, and the injuries don't happen to AD and Lively, and Clay Thompson didn't forget how to shoot. Like I think if they're like a 3 seed right now, I don't think we're having this conversation on the pod, truthfully. But that doesn't mean they could start 10-3 and then at the deadline they're a middling team and then it happens then. So I think this was probably coming regardless, especially because the stories the last couple of days were, just upper management, real sour taste, starting to question the rest of his moves that have followed suit since the Luca trade. I saw something crazy today. This just goes to show how much Nico Harrison loves defense. There was a apparently he had like a talent evaluation tier list, and he had Jokic and Drew Holiday in the same tier list for his talent evaluation. So just goes to show you he was didn't really have a great pulse for NBA talent. Obviously loved defense. He thinks defense wins championships. That's why he traded a 25-year-old Luka Doncic for aging Anthony Davis with all sorts of injury history. But I rest my case. Just more bad stuff coming out about a guy that we kind of already knew didn't have a great feel for his job.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think the bad start definitely sped up this process. They had to have been thinking about it coming into the season, like to pull the trigger on this. But I don't think any of us would have thought that it was going to start this bad. I thought thought they had a decent roster, even with AD. Everybody expected Flag to be decent at least starting out. So it was like, all right, like they can make some headway and keep this thing afloat until Kyrie comes back, and then let's see what happens. But I do think a lot of it is just what are you how much are you willing to alienate your fan base too? Like hearing fire Nico chants all night, like those weren't going to stop. Like that wasn't going to stop anytime soon, right? Like so it's just like how much are you willing to put your fan base through going into this season when this is like your layup, like easy PR move to just save a little bit of face after this disaster class. And we were talking about it a little bit earlier on Trainwreck today, but like how much of it is also that Luca and the Lakers are just like flying high too. Like he looks as good as he's ever been for the Lakers. They're off to a hot start. So that's just like twisting the knife too into these Mavs fans where it's like, man, what could have been, right? Like what if you could have just could have just kept it rolling and saw what happened. Like maybe they don't win a title. And this is something Bill Simmons said this about there too, where it was like the biggest thing wasn't like I don't think Mavs fans particularly cared if they won. Like obviously every team wants to win a title, but they
Mhm.
wanted to just go along this ride with Luca. Like they were all bought in on the ride with Luca. And so even prefacing the AD trade with like, well, maybe we're closer to a title, which is a crazy thing, I think, anyways, because I don't think AD is on the level of Luca. I think we both can fully agree on that. But
Mhm.
I think they would have rather just went to bat with their guy than tried to make a move that brings you closer to a title, quote unquote. And I think that is just like once you lose the trust of the fan base, it takes a lot to get it back. And this team wasn't going to be the one to do it. And hoping for a Kyrie Irving injury recovery off the ACL, like, and that's a lot of pressure on Kyrie too, right? Like if this
Mhm.
team was, I don't know whatever I don't know what the record would be in January, but say they're like 5 games under 500 when he comes back, you're basically looking at him as like a savior. Like Kyrie has to come in and put up 30 points a game, damn near, or something like that. Like it's just it's not a good environment for a winning basketball team to try to be in. It's not a good environment too. Specifically, you lucked into Cooper Flag. Like
No kidding.
developing
Yeah.
him is the most important thing this franchise can do. And if his rookie year is just turmoil because the GM is a lame duck and everybody hates him and AD hates the team and Kyrie hates what's going on, like what does that mean for Cooper in the future, right? And what does it mean for him when he contract negotiations come up down the line and like players that want to come here that in the future, like free agency and everything else, like no matter when you have to get rid of Nico earlier than later because the later it goes on, it could do irreparable damage to this organization's reputation among players in the league too. So I think once you have and I know there was crowd anger last year too, but once it hit a fever pitch, you kind of just have to do it to save face for both the fans and just for your future young star to put him in the best environment possible to develop him because everything now who cares about winning a title? Everything should be about winning a title in 5 years and Cooper Flag being the best possible player that he can be.
Yeah, it's such a good point too when you just mix the fan reaction and then Cooper Flag's upbringing in the NBA, I guess if you want to put it like that, because like you say, like the boos weren't going to stop. The fire Nico chants weren't going to stop. Anytime they showed him, like everyone was going to be upset, and rightfully so. Like this is something that sports fans, you deserve not to get over this. This is insane. It was the way it was talked about like that for a reason because across all sports, we've never seen a player of that caliber get moved for something that's pennies on the dollar because again it's crazy because you go back to that night what was it, I think February of last year, um January February of last year when the trade happens and the world goes crazy, and now you have this guy in Cooper Flag who he didn't ask for any of this, but like you said, like you want the best for him. You want him to be the guy now. And obviously Dallas fans probably aren't even ready to come to that realization still now. Because now they have to see Luca balling on the Lakers and they're like, see, like this is why you don't do what you did. But trades can't be reversed in the NBA. And I think it's a combination of the way they started, which they're not just 3-8, Jake. They are 0-5 in the Western Conference, so they haven't beat anyone in the West to start this year. So just gets even worse. And I think, yeah, that's just a really good point by you. Like it should all be about Flag now, and that's why today, after the dust settled with the Nico firing, we're getting all these reports with, Anthony Davis could be on the trade block now. Kyrie Irving possibly to be moved as well when he gets healthy because, horrible start to the season. Cooper Flag's still a kid. You can get younger, you can get picks if that's the route you want to go. I still think they could be a good team this year, but obviously they know more than me personnel wise. Like, how long Lively's going to be on the shelf. Is this going to be a consistent thing they're dealing with Anthony Davis? Klay Thompson, who oddly enough, a report came out today about Klay where supposedly the Lakers were willing to offer Klay Thompson 4 years for $80 million. So that's not a bad deal for Klay and his age, and especially what he's producing right now. And he decided on Dallas because he wanted to play with Luka. So it's a tough look for Klay Thompson. Tougher bid for the Lakers because they maybe had Klay, but maybe they dodged a bullet because he's shooting so poorly. So it's crazy. You can fire Harrison all you want, which is I think was a smart move, but it doesn't mean that your situation is automatically fixed. So now they have to wait for Davis to come back. I believe tonight he's going to miss their 7th straight game. I believe he was ruled out earlier this afternoon. So Davis still not back. Flag has been okay.
Well, and some of the reporting around Davis today too, now that Nico's gone. Did you see that from The Athletic that Nico was pushing him to come back early from this injury, even though the training staff was worrying, was warning him about potential Achilles injury and everything else that we've seen with calf injuries. So there's that element of it. And obviously everybody's going to just start coming and smearing Nico as he's on the way out. Like we know how this thing goes, but how many of these have we seen in the past? Like why would you ever be trying to do that? And the talk of, and you have it in here too, like, are they going to move AD now? Like they're going to work with AD's camp. Is he going to be on the move potentially? Is Kyrie going to be on the move potentially? Like now everything's in flux and it's just a complete mess, man.
Complete mess, man. I mean, if you had to take a stab at a guess right now, would you say that the Dallas Mavericks, 14th seed in the Western Conference, 3-8 right now, would you say that they are in the play-in or better once playoffs come around, or would you say outside?
Outside.
Yeah,
I think they blow it up. I think they blow it up at this point. I mean, yeah. Get what you can. Did you? Zach Lowe put out a AD to the Bulls trade as an option. Like I could see there's probably plenty of teams that would be willing to give up a couple first round picks and some young players for AD even at this rate to try to go make the playoffs or make a run right now. I think you just gotta. You thought it might work. You thought you could thread that needle. It's not going to happen. Just blow it up.
Yeah, I mean, I think they have to now. It kind of the firing of Nico almost tells us that a little bit.
Yeah,
that's the direction they're headed because it's seemingly he was not going to do that at all, judging by the few moves he made post Luka trade. So we'll see. I mean, obviously, get a big return, like you mentioned. Like, I'm sure a team would be willing to give a few first, maybe some young talent, depending on who the team is. So, like, AD definitely still has a market. And Kyrie, when he comes back, I mean, he was awesome last year before he got hurt. So, I think he would have a market too. It's just could be a long year for Mavs fans. But you have Cooper Flag. So, just remember that. You have Cooper Flag. He's awesome.
The Zach Lowe trade was Kobe White, Nick Vucevic, and 2 firsts for AD.
I mean, that's solid, man.
It's not bad.
Already just completely eliminate the point guard problem. Like, Kobe White, you have your point guard to play alongside Cooper Flag. Vooch has been awesome this year. And, he's going to give you 18 and 10 every night. And then the 2 firsts, I mean, that's just like you said, like that's probably just what the price is going to be for AD to start.
What would be a good Kyrie destination at this point?
Houston?
That's what I was thinking too, right? Like
I just thought of who needs a point guard the most.
If they could trade, it'd be a sly move to do, but they could trade Van Vliet, and I feel like those contracts are probably pretty close. Like Van Vliet's making a ton of money.
Dump to Van Vliet, maybe throw in like Tari Eason or something.
Put Kyrie and KD back together.
Yeah, that's the most questionable part of the deal.
I mean, I don't know where there are a lot of options for him otherwise. So, I mean,
I know. I'm trying to think of other teams. other teams that really need a point guard like that, but not too many.
No. I mean, an
Or
interesting one would be like if you send him, like if Detroit trades for him. And it's
yeah,
like, he plays kind of the role he played with Luka, where Cade is gonna control everything. But when Cade's off the floor, Kyrie can take over, or Kyrie can play off the ball and like with Cade and do that. I could see something like that too. And that would be, oh man, as a Cavs fan, if Kyrie was on the Pistons the way they're rolling, that would be terrible. But I could see that. Like if there's a team that's ripe for a superstar trade this year, it is the Pistons. So who knows?
oh for sure. Timberwolves, Ant and Kyrie would be a
Yeah, the T-Wolves make a lot of sense. I mean, they don't
nasty
have a point
backcourt.
guard. They don't have a
Right.
point guard right now. Their situation's tough. So
Option. That's what I mean. Like they do have options. It's probably not going to be a good year this year for the Mavericks.
yeah.
Um, sorry for any listeners out there that were hoping for Steve's reaction to this.
Oh, I know,
because
Steve. This is
he's
just
fired
poor
up.
luck for him. Yeah, he's out. He's out down bad today. But you know what? Honestly, though, we've heard Steve's thoughts on Nico Harrison. I don't
Yeah.
think he would be. I don't think he'd be giving us much more than what he's used to there, or than what we're used to with him. He wants him in a jail, under the jail, locked away. I think last time we talked to him, one neutral loaf, and watching on a loop like the Family Guy skit of DirecTV, watching Luka Laker highlights. So we know that's what Steve wants from Nico Harrison.
And there's
how
no
funny
way to
is it?
confirm that that's not what Nico's doing right now.
No way
There's
to confirm.
confirm.
But I did see this tweet the other day. How funny will it be when we get the Shams announcement that Rob Pelinka has hired Nico Harrison to the Lakers front office?
Oh, we might.
Oh man, I don't know if they could do it with Luka. Honestly, like Luka might hate that guy with all his passion at this point. But we know they're boys. We know Pelinka and Nico are boys. That's how this kind of deal gets done. You meet at a coffee shop in LA and you hash out the biggest trade in NBA history.
Yeah. Because speaking of Bill Simmons, he had a tweet yesterday when Nico got fired. He was like, seems like Pelinka should probably hold off a few hours before sending like oh, I'm sorry this happened to you, buddy, or like something like that. He was like, maybe hold off a little bit before the apology text about losing your
that's
job.
tough.
But that's the situation for the Mavs right now. It's a sticky one. It's a weird one. I guess exciting if you're not a fan directly of the team, because there's definitely some drama here. There's definitely some trades that can unfold, like we mentioned. I would be willing to bet money that at least one of AD or Kyrie gets moved before the deadline, and it sounds like it could be both. And then who knows what happens to Clay? Maybe they just eat his contract for the rebuild or whatever they're about to go into. But weird stuff there with Klay Thompson too. Just not looking like Klay. Got benched for D'Angelo Russell. Then D'Angelo Russell looked bad in the starting lineup. So just a complete mess for the Mavericks. Everyone probably should have saw this coming. Nico, who knows? Who knows what's next for Nico Harrison? Maybe he goes back to Nike. But anyway, something I guess a little more, probably not more interesting, but the All-Star game. We got an announcement on the changes that will be happening next year. So Adam Silver heard the loud boos and criticism from last year.
Yeah.
Yes, I love the way, if you're watching on YouTube, I love the way Jake put up this title for the segment. All-Star game changes again, because they just can't seem to get it right, so they keep changing it. And this year we have two teams, two U.S. teams and one world team in a round-robin tournament with 4 12-minute games. I mean, what was your first reaction when you saw this? We can go into like the detail of what it's going to be in a minute here, but
another important part of it is that there's no positions for each conference.
Yes.
So it can be, I don't know if you said that. I might have missed that, but Dunny, what is this? Like, what are we doing here?
See, yeah, I didn't think that you. I'm caught off guard because I didn't think you were gonna have this same take, but
What are we doing?
we've said it year after year. The fans know what they want, or at least I know what I want. I want East West. I want the players to wear their team's jerseys and do home and away. I get it. I get the brand deals. I get all that. I don't even need the jerseys part. I just want East West. I think we've tried to change it so many times that I would just like to go back to the original, please. I would like to
Yep.
go back to the number one meal, please. The whatever I grew up on, because those All Star games were fun, and the change and the drastic change at that year after year, that's not the answer either. And I think they saw that hockey had such great success with the Four Nations tournament for their All Star game, and they tried to go that route, which is fine. I think it's a fine route to go, but four 12-minute games, I mean, that's not an All Star game. Like, how are we going to call it the All Star game if the All Star game's a tournament?
It's also just so weird to me that it's two American teams and one world team, and just like the breakdown of that. Like, I'm sure that they did some math on that, but like, what if there's only 10 world players that are worthy of the All-Star game? So we have to add two on, like, just for fun.
Did you
like,
see? There's
no,
an answer to that.
What is the answer to
So,
that? Please
if
let me know.
NBA All Star voting does not result in the selection of 16 U.S. players and 8 international players, in parentheses, which can include American players with ties to other countries if necessary, and
Oh,
parentheses,
Jesus.
then NBA Commissioner Adam Silver will select additional All Stars
Oh,
to join
great.
either group to reach that minimum. In that case, at least one team would have more than 8 players.
Great.
So it's
Thanks,
like, what?
Adam. Glad we can put it in the trusty hands of Adam Silver.
Let's try to
figure
do
this out.
World versus US, but not really do it, and then let's confuse the shit out of our viewers with all these little rules that come along with it. And I'm not even knocking the idea of World versus US, because I actually thought this worked out when they did like the Rising Stars Challenge, and then they turned it to that for a few years. I think there's an entertainment factor to part of it, but I just think traditional NBA fans, and probably even younger NBA fans, I think they just like the idea of a legitimate All-Star game, East-West. I know the defense got bad. I know it lacked enthusiasm and effort for a few years there, but I don't think this is the fix.
What I don't understand with changing it every year, what do they think the All-Star game is going to be? Like, do they think that by doing this, they're going to get some revolutionary thing where, 15 million people are going to watch the All-Star game on a Sunday afternoon in February? Like, it's just never going to happen again. So just embrace what it is. You're not going to get the live viewership that you want out of it. It's never going to be like this tent pole. Like, the Saturday night is the tent pole event that people are going to tune in for mostly. So just do something, Adam Silver, that your classic, your diehard NBA fans just want. And it's just the East versus West, and just to see the stars out there playing. And you know what worked? The target score worked. Like, that was the thing. Like, we had a couple years where we had the really competitive endings to these games with the target scores, and it was like everybody trying really hard at the end of them. And like the money thing, like, worked out too, like getting the money donated. And like, it's not going to be perfect for all 48 minutes of those games when you do that. No, but if you can guarantee that you get some highlights throughout, and then an exciting fourth quarter where teams are really trying hard at the end, like, I feel like that's all you can ask for with an All-Star game at this point. Like, I don't know what they wanted. I don't understand all the changes to try to make it into something that it's not, when I'm just willing to accept it as all the best players in the NBA getting together and playing a game where they're not all going to try hard. Like, I'm fine with that. I understand that. I'm cool with that. And we can like move forward with that. And people are still going to watch and tune in for it. It's not going to be the viewership, behemoth that I think I don't know. Like, I don't know if it ever will be, no matter what they try to do. So I just don't understand the constant tinkering, because I think it pisses people off more and turns them off when they're like, oh, what is this all-star game? Wait, there's 4 mini games going. Like, that's gonna piss people. That there's gonna be people that not like us, that, you know, like casual NBA fans that don't watch until after football and just start paying attention, that tune in for the All-Star game that day and are just figuring out the format and are like, what the fuck is this? And they're gonna turn it off. Like, that's what's gonna happen.
Absolutely, that's what's gonna happen. And like, I don't know, man. Like, we just, as NBA fans, we just want a normal game. I think, like, the mini games is just, you're just not even having, like I already said it, but you're not even having an All-Star game at that point. And like, sure, it got less competitive over the years, but the part that was competitive is guys wanted to be an all-star. And I do think that players in the league still pride themselves on all-star selections. And if we do it this way, it's just you kind of break up the pool of people who are even eligible when you need 8 guys who qualify for world, and then or international players. And then there's this fine print where it's like, well, American players with ties to other countries can also qualify. So it's like, it kind of takes the merit away from being an all-star as well, because there's all these different rules and it's not a real game. I don't know, man. They're just trying to reinvent the wheel too much. It's my complaints sound different, but are actually just pretty similar to last year too. We're just doing too much. Maybe next week, me, you, and Steve, we should do our entire All-Star weekend of our ideal All-Star weekend and what we would do, and present it to the listeners, because
I
I think
like
that would
that.
be a fun exercise.
I like that, because the other thing is the dunk contest. Like, oh man, the dunk contest nowadays. You need 2 tries. And I'm giving away the thing a little bit, and I guess for next week. So sorry, but like the unlimited tries is crazy to me. It's like, okay, sick, you made your dunk on the 7th attempt. Cool.
Yeah, no, that shouldn't be allowed at all.
It is. There's a lot of things we could do.
My one thing that I'll give away is I really want part of Saturday to be like, you know, the famous Team USA Kevin Garnett full court king of the court video where he goes to each half court and just like he doesn't lose so he doesn't get off. Like, I want like a one-on-one style tournament, but like that, where like the guys get the rock, if you score you stay on, and then the defender switches at either end, in some sort of prize money, or just a regular one-on-one tournament. Like, I think there's a way to spice up Saturday night, even though, like you mentioned, the last couple of years, Saturday's probably been better than Sunday, like the last like 3 or 4 years.
All they're going to do is do horse again.
Friday night, don't even get me started about Friday night. We need to change that up completely. But
the celeb game with like the Z-list celebrities that they can get to play in these games.
Celebrities that if my dad turned on the game, he'd be like, "Who are these strangers on my TV?" So I mean, we got a mid-November All-Star format announcement, and I'm sure most NBA fans have the same reaction as us. It was pretty underwhelming, at least for now. We'll see. We'll see how it turns out. We'll see if Jokic and the other world guys care, but my guess would be no for mini games, whatever that is. Anyway, speaking of caring, Jake, Jimmy Butler and Draymond are not so sure their teammates care as much as them.
Yeah.
About winning and playing winning basketball. So the other night, the Warriors had a pretty tough loss to the Thunder. Both Jimmy and Draymond, during their post-game interviews, had some things to say about their teammates. Draymond said last year everyone was committed to winning in any way possible. So it doesn't feel that way right now. And where I will have Draymond's back a little bit, because I saw this headline go around a lot that he said that his teammates had personal agendas. the journalist did phrase the question in that way and asked if he thought his teammates had personal agendas. And he went on to say that he thinks everyone in the league has personal agendas. You just got to be able to put them aside and focus on winning or something along those lines. But it was definitely a call out answer from Draymond. And then Jimmy, during his post game interview, the reporters brought up what Draymond was talking about to him. So he kind of fed off that and challenged his teammates' effort on the defensive end, and said, just kind of similar things to what Draymond said. Like last year at the end of the year, they seemed to be more committed to winning. They need to get back to that. What do you think about all this? I mean, it's so early in the season. I thought it was the strangest part that I thought was Jimmy Butler challenging his teammates' defense when Jimmy Butler had a game where he shot the ball 3 times. So it's like, okay, yeah, I mean, challenge your team. If you don't think your teammates are playing good defense, that's fine. But at the same time, you're the second fiddle on this team. I'm not even sure Steph played in that game either. No, Steph did play in this game. Yeah, Steph played. He played 20 minutes though, and Jimmy Butler, I guess he played 22 minutes, but he shot the ball 3 times. So
yeah, and you know what? There was also Draymond responding to Kevin O'Connor on, I think it was Threads. It was either Threads or Instagram. I just saw a screenshot of it, and it turned into by the end of it a promo for his podcast. And it was like, this is why you need to listen straight for the players. That's what the Draymond Green show is for to hear straight from me. So there is that. It's a question. It is a real weird question because we've talked about the Warriors the last couple of years and just them trying to thread the needle with young guys compared to the older core. And obviously adding Jimmy to that is another more intense version. Like Klay Thompson wouldn't be out there complaining like this. Like Jimmy is just a different cat, different animal when it comes to that. Did they need more defensive effort against the Thunder? Maybe, but also I think it's also, honestly, what I think it is, Dunny, is as much of anything else, they saw a matchup with the Thunder without Jalen Williams and probably got up big for that game. And we're like, listen, like we need to prove this to ourselves. Like there's an older team or at least older stars trying to match up. And they couldn't even stay on the floor with that team. Like it was just the Thunder, it started off as a close game. The Thunder go on like a 15-0 run at some point in the second quarter, and they really never turn it back. And I think that's as much of the frustration as anything else. It's these guys searching for answers on a roster where when you see the competition that you're up against and see like the mountain you have to climb to win the West, and that is the Oklahoma City Thunder, and that's what your team looks like against it. I think they're just searching, and they're just like, well, I guess the answer has to be we have to try harder on defense. Like that's all we need to do. And it's like, I don't think that's the answer, guys. I think they're just better than you. I think the Thunder are just better than everybody. Like the Thunder don't even have Jalen Williams right now, and they're doing this to teams. So I think the Thunder might just be in another class than the Warriors, and I feel like it's Draymond and Jimmy and probably a bit Steph too, just kind of like coming to grips with the fact that just them, like those guys being together on a team is not going to do enough for them in the long run during this season. Like they're still going to have uphill battles. And like you said, Jimmy only takes 3 shots in this game. Why? I don't know. But Steph didn't do anything either. He only has 11 points on 4 of 13. They played 12 guys. Does it look like here? Yeah, 12 guys. Like they were searching for answers all night long to try to get something going against this team. And I feel like it was like probably hyped up in that locker room as this is a litmus test for us, whether they would set it, whether they said it out loud or not. It was a litmus test for them to see where they're at early in the season. And they just failed miserably against this team. And it's like, what can we even do? To improve? There's nothing they can do to improve on this team this year. So it's shit that they just have to figure out internally. If they think it's effort level defensively, sure, that might help a little bit. That might have helped a little bit in that game. But I don't know, man. I think it's coming to grips with your basketball mortality as much as anything else for just some older players.
Yeah, I think that's totally true. And then, like, when I was breaking this down, like, I kind of just looked at who said it also, because I'm like, Draymond,
Yeah.
like, this, this could have been after a 2-point loss to the Thunder when they were 8-3 instead of 6-6. So wasn't really all that surprised by Draymond. I try to just tune him out when he's doing his post game anyway. But Jimmy, he's an intense guy. He's an energy guy. I think he feels a certain type of pride to carry this team, especially when Steph was coming back from injury a little bit. They're 6-6. I mean, I'm not like super surprised by that record 12 games into the season for the Warriors. I guess I would have thought they would have been a few games better, but they're 5-0 at home. Horrible road record right now. So I think that's a fair critique if Draymond and Jimmy want to come at the guys for, like, we got to get up for road games. So that's fine. But this is what the Warriors do. They're 5-0 at home. They have a great home court environment. They have great players, but on the older side, like we talked about. So, I mean, I'm not super worried about this Warriors team, but I just still have the same expectation I had coming in. Like, I don't think they're going to be a top 4 seed, but I think they'll probably be a playoff team, and I think they'll figure some of the stuff out. They also missed Steph for a few games last week, so I think that can also speak to the 6-6 record. I don't know. I think maybe people outside the team and also the Warriors themselves think that they're better than I think they are, but we'll see. We'll see how the team responds. My thing is, like, kind of not all that surprised that either of these guys said what they said.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And and again, like, also two guys who, like you said, outspoken their whole career, but also they're not going to age well in their careers either. Once, like, Draymond is already pretty much, like, he can still be impactful, but it's pretty much gone for him. And Jimmy can still. Jimmy started hot. We were like, damn, Jimmy's looking better than we thought he would. But maybe it's a situation where Jimmy was looking up, like, 3 shots means he never felt confident going to the rim, doing what he wanted to do against that team. We know how the Thunder are defensively. So I think it's some frustration level for just where they're at in their careers and where this team's at. And guys that are outspoken that aren't going to age gracefully no matter what, as it is.
Yeah. No, I think you nailed it there. Where you think the Warriors make any moves this season? Or you think they stay put?
I think they let it ride.
Yeah.
I think they really just let this team ride, especially if they're within a play-in or playoff position, that they'll just trust that they can go and they'll trust the pedigree going to the playoffs and hope that Steph can get hot and go from there. And I think that's what Steph wants to. I don't think Steph likes to rock the boat. I think he wants to go in and go to war with his guys and see what happens. But it's hard. It's hard to imagine a path. Honestly, it's hard to imagine a path. We're just talking about the league in general. It's hard to imagine a path for anybody right now with the way the Thunder look. And
oh my God.
The way that, and I will keep saying it, without Jalen Williams playing yet, the fact that they are doing this is terrifying. And they play the Lakers tonight. We're recording this Wednesday night before the games. So that'll be interesting to see what Luka always does really well against the Thunder. But, man, no one's been able to slow them down. They don't have their second best player on the roster going yet. It's so just, scary, I don't know what to do against them. They might win are they going to win 75 games this year? Like, I mean, I don't know.
They're on pace to win more than that. So it's also crazy too, because we saw it with the Celtics last year. We see it with just about every other team that wins a championship. They struggle the next year, and that just does not look like the case at all for the Thunder. But
did you hear it a couple weeks ago where Shea had an interview and he was like, we didn't play good basketball to win the finals. He's like, I was ashamed of like how we basically like something like that. He was like, I was ashamed of how we played at the playoff run. Like it wasn't our best. We weren't at our peak. Which is like, you won the finals, bro. Like, what are you talking about? But like the fact that they know they have another level to get to in the playoffs, and really like they should have no one thought the Pacers were going to be in that series with them at all.
Yeah,
like,
I was going to say that's the only thing I if that's the point he was trying to make, I agree with SGA there, because probably shouldn't have gone 7 if you were just comparing those two teams. But the Pacers were just fucking playing out of their minds. They were on God mode.
It was devil. Well, I was going to say devil magic. Opposite.
Yeah,
the devil magic.
It was one of those sides of the spectrum. They were doing something.
Do you remember those TikToks going around last year? Yeah. Oh yeah. And then the fact, listen, I'm just saying, devil magic. It comes back to bite you. The monkey paw comes back to bite you. The fact that Tyrese tears his Achilles in Game 7 seems like a devil magic thing to happen. I'm just saying. I'm not saying it's at why, but
checks notes. The Pacers are 1-10.
Yep, not great.
So, maybe it was some devil magic going on.
And to wrap all this up, who is the one team that they beat? The Golden State Warriors.
Wow. What a fun little loop that was. I didn't even have that. That's awesome. Well, not for the Pacers, but that is
not
awesome.
for the Pacers, but yeah.
Let's stay in the Eastern Conference here. Let's talk a little bit about this East. Primarily, we'll start with the Pistons, because last couple of weeks we gave all the praise in the world to the Bulls, which very deserving. But they've slipped. We talked about it. We're trying to check ourselves and show the upcoming schedule. The first week they took it in stride, and they continued to win some games. This past week they've lost 3 straight. So they're 6-4, still the 7th seed in the East, but climb up 6 spots above that, and you'll see the Detroit Pistons sitting at 9-2 on a 7-game win streak, looking for 8 tonight. Cade's been awesome. Jalen Duren's been awesome. We had our chatter about Duren a couple weeks ago. This Pistons team's great, man. They look scary. They're playing for one another. And this is kind of what I thought would happen with the Orlando Magic this year, but this is it's happening with the Pistons. So, Jake, where are you at? I know you're not as a Cavs fan, you're not too fond to see this, but what are you seeing from Detroit this year?
And just to know, if you're watching live with us, Cade and Duren both out tonight with some injury management against the Bulls, and no Josh Giddey, which has hurt the Bulls in those last couple of games. He's been out with an ankle. The Pistons, though, man, I had no idea that this was possible for them this year. I thought they could be a good team. We talked about them before the season. I think we said, they could be in the play. I think we had them in our tiers in the playoff race, as a 4 or 5 seed, something around it, like that at their peak could do that. But it's Cade Cunningham. I mean, Duren too. Like Duren, as we talked about last week, like maybe a top 5 center in the league. If you're just talking about pure centers, all things considered, he's been awesome, just dominating on the boards and dominating just in a lot of different ways. He's shooting 65% from the field. Dunny. I mean, that's insane. He's 19-12 right now. Like he's an elite center at this moment. But Cade, it's really the evolution of Cade Cunningham. Like him taking this leap again this year to being the player that we all kind of thought he could be. And when we talked about him coming out of the draft, we said, I don't want to say that he could be as good as Luka, but he could basically just do all the things that Luka does. And that's what we've talked about him for years and years and years. And then you see a game like the other night. Now, putting up 45 shots in a game, which he had on Monday night,
to get 46 points
is absurd. Like I can't even imagine like the confidence you must have as an NBA player to put up 45 shots in a game. But he is becoming that's what I was just gonna say. He's becoming that hub. Like he is now that level of player, like a Harden, like an SGA, like a Luka, where he can be a one-man force offensively and just do every little thing. Yeah,
Yep.
like he is an incredible passer. He has such size and such vision to be able to pass the ball. He can really get any shot he wants and get to any place he wants on the floor to get to his shots. He rebounds well. He puts effort in on the defensive side of the ball to get those rebounds too. When he's playing like this and they have a good team around him, and this is listen, JB Bickerstaff's a good coach, man. Like the Cavs got rid of him because they kind of topped out with him, and I think it was as much the players, just kind of wearing on them and just him just wearing on them and it becoming kind of, the same thing too many times. But he knows how to get the most out of his players, and he knows how to get them to be a tough team and put effort in on a night to night basis. And that's the thing the Pistons are doing as much as anybody else. They put effort in every single night. Like they are playing hard. They're playing great team defense. They just are a team that their only loss this year is to the Cavs and to the Bulls, right? Like so two division teams, two rival games that they've lost in. But other than that, man, it's been really impressive, and I don't see a reason that this is going to slow down because a JB Bickerstaff team typically doesn't slow down. Like they're going to push pedal to the metal the whole season. And honestly, you look at the state of the Eastern Conference right now, it's wide open for them to be a top 3 seed if they were to keep up what they're doing. There's nobody in this conference that I think can stand in their way, like and not like that can really take the reins from them. The Cavs are going to be too beat up all year long, and I think the Cavs are looking at this year the exact opposite as last year, where they're going to rest guys. They're not going to push these guys out and try to win a bunch of games. They're gonna take their time with it. The Heat are good, have limitations. Maybe the Knicks can push them for that 1 seed. Maybe the Bucks if they start rolling, but those teams both feel like they have limitations too. It feels like the Pistons are on an even, and then you get into like the Sixers, the Bulls, the Raptors, the Celtics, the Hawks. Like it doesn't feel like they're out of place with these teams. So if we're in February and the Pistons are the 2 seed in the East, like I wouldn't be surprised sitting here right now seeing that, because I just think the conference it's got a lot of parity in it. I don't think there's one dominant team that's going to take over this conference this year.
Yeah, it really does have a lot of parity. I mean, just from week to week, from day to day at this point, if you're checking the Eastern Conference schedule, or not schedule, the standings, you'll probably open it up and be surprised every morning if you were to do that, because one, it's pretty tight to start, and it's also just completely out of whack of where an NBA fan might have had it, or not completely, but like no one had Detroit being the 1 seed in the middle of November, but here we are. And it just seems like the Detroit Pistons have taken advantage of a situation that all of these other teams that were either middling or at the high end of the Eastern Conference coming in this year wish that they were doing it like the Detroit Pistons right now. They're just playing their brand of basketball. They've put all their chips in on their star. They're letting him do the things that he wants to do, run the offense his way, and things are falling into piece. I mean, it helps when you have a young, athletic team around a guy like Cade Cunningham, but it's also more than that. Like you mentioned, the coaching got to give them a nod for doing such a great job, and they're just hustling right now. They see an opportunity with this wide open East, and they're taking advantage of it. You mentioned the Knicks. I think they're probably going to be there all year. The Heat are a surprise to me. The Bucks, I think, are rolling a little bit better than I think people were giving them credit for. And then you have teams like the Sixers and the Bulls who have slowed down a little bit. You have the Atlanta Hawks, who the 3 of us thought that they would be off to a better start, but they're dealing with some stuff and a Trae Young injury. So the East was wide open when the season started, and I think it just continues to get more wide open as the weeks go on here.
Yeah, I agree. And it feels like the power is really in the West. Like if I were like, that's the thing is like, you look at the top of the East, I'd take the Thunder, obviously. I take the Nuggets. I take the Spurs. I take the Lakers. Like all 4 of those teams right now, I would choose. Like if they were in a series against any of the East teams in the finals, I would be taking the other side. And that's crazy because we haven't even seen De'Aaron Fox on the floor yet with the Spurs. We haven't even seen LeBron on the floor yet with the Lakers. We haven't seen Jalen Williams yet on the floor with the Thunder. We know what we're going to get out of Jokic and the Nuggets in the playoffs. Like, it's the West, the power imbalance that we had in the NBA like 10 years ago, 15 years ago is fully back, where I just like Western Conference basketball is a different animal this year. And the East is just, and not saying the East teams are bad either. Like, the East has a lot of talent in it, but it's just, they're so much more even. And I don't think that they can get to the level of these West teams, but it's going to make for a fun race towards the end of the season. And it's going to make for a hell of a fun playoff in the East, because it's going to be really matchup dependent. I feel like we're going to get a lot of great series out of it.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible, man. I mean, the Raptors are working out a little better than I think people thought.
Yeah. If Trae Young comes back and can stay healthy the whole year, I think the Hawks make a nice late run too. Like, his injury early on, that's just a downer for this
brutal.
team.
And they've won 2 straight since he's gone down too. So
yeah,
you never know with that group. Anything? Do you want to do anything on our 2 teams, or you want to get to some flowers?
Well, the only thing about I don't the Cavs, like I said, I think they're gonna kind of just mosey on through this year and have a lot of rest days and do what they need to do to get by and get into the playoffs. The tough thing is just the Darius Garland injury issue. Like, he re-injures his foot or toe the other night. They put out a post today that he's going to go back to basically rest and management, and they'll give us a return to play update when appropriate. I wouldn't imagine seeing him until the new year, honestly, at this point. Like, why rush him back? I feel like we were surprised to see him playing as early as he was anyways. So it's tough, man. Like, they need Darius Garland healthy to be a title contender. So I think that should be the focus, is getting him healthy. But you also have to watch Donovan Mitchell's minutes, because they're like, in his absence, they're playing Donovan at point guard, and he's doing so much. And Donovan can't fucking help himself. Like, he's going to go 110% balls to the wall when he's on the court. So that's why, like, tonight, like, as we're recording this Wednesday night, him and Mobley aren't playing in the second game in Miami. And it's probably just to save them from themselves as much as anything else, right? Like, so it's going to be a weird year for the Cavs. I think they're just hoping, get a 4 seed, get into the dance healthy, and then see what happens. But not going to be as fun of a regular season as it was last year because of that.
Yeah, I think that's totally fair. And the game that Mitchell exploded this year, where he had like 45 or 46 or whatever it was, that was Garland's first game back, where he didn't have to take on all the duties. So yeah, it makes sense. I mean, Garland stays being an important part to this Cavs team. I mean, if we're doing a quick Homer corner, look, man, the Celtics. I was saying it to you before we hopped on the pod, but it's just tough. It's tough with the rotation of bigs that they're putting out there. Keita's been awesome in the starting minutes, and then it's just a steep drop off after that. Luka Garza, he plays hard. He's just not that good, man, and that's what it comes down to. And it's tough because if you have a rebounding problem and an interior defense problem, that's just stuff that you need to happen to win games down the stretch. And what I was saying to Jake before we started recording is the Celtics are in all these games for the most part. They have fourth quarter leads in a lot of these games, and then it's mismanaged or it just slips away from them. Part due to what I talked about, just the bigs. If you can't rebound down the stretch, you're probably not going to win games. If you allow offensive rebounds down the stretch, you're probably not going to win games. That's happened to them a couple of times, and then just not being used to not having the star power that they could rely on in years past. And that's not a knock at Jaylen Brown at all, because he's been absolutely awesome to start this season. And he's not the issue, but the Celtics might just be a middling team until Tatum comes back, or until a move is made. And even if I think a move's made before Tatum comes back, it'll probably just be to bulk up the front court and get another big in there. But it's currently sitting at 5-7, left some wins out there, I believe. So I still think the Celtics could be a playoff team without Jason Tatum, but
Oh yeah. I
But they
think
have
they've
to,
shown that. I think they've
yeah,
shown that they just got to figure out the end of game situations without him, and that's tough. Like
right.
that's a tough ask for this team.
Not to mention making everyone else mesh at the same time because I think the broadcast has actually done a good job of this for a number of Celtics games. But you talk about losing Tatum all you want, but then you got to bring up losing Horford, who's been there for years and
Yep.
has just been a steady hand in the front court. Porzingis, a guy you've relied on heavily for 20 a night. Drew Holiday, a guy that you're relying on to take away the team's best player and then also give you 15 and 8 on the other end. So, and then just incorporating guys like Anthony Simons, who's been a baller, but these guys just got to learn how to play with each other. Derek White hasn't really had a Derek White game. Last night it was close. He was getting closer. Um, but it's just working out the kinks right now for
Yep.
the Boston Celtics. 5-7, like I said. So thought it would be a little better than that, but it's kind of about what I expected. Like I said, I think we'll be a playoff team or is capable of that. We'll just see how it all pans out. You want to give out some flowers to end this show, Jake?
Yes, I would love
Let's
to.
do
And
it.
so I got to give out flowers. So I was up late working Monday night. I got Hawks Clippers on. And listen, I know a
Beautiful.
lot of NBA players. I mean, yeah, what more could you ask for on a Monday night, right? Like, and I know a lot of like you got an NBA podcast. Like, I feel like I know most of the league, and I have heard this name before, but hearing it as much as I did Wednesday on Monday night was a shocker to me. And this guy's been balling out this year. Vit Krejci for the Atlanta Hawks.
Mm-hmm.
You probably as the Boston fan just heard Krejci one time. We're like, okay, like I'll remember this guy forever. That's
Exactly.
David
That's
Krejci, former Boston Bruin legend
Yep.
there. Vit Krejci though, he and it's funny because when I went to go look at this before, scored 0 points Friday night against the Raptors in a loss. So just was doing nothing and explodes in their win, 105-102 win over the Clippers. And he has 28 points, 9 for 13. He's 8 for 10 from 3. So just somebody stepping in. He's we were just talking about Trae Young being out for a while with that MCL sprain. They need some scoring from the guards. Like you like Daniels. You like Keaton Wallace, but the scoring is inconsistent. Luke Kennard, you know what you're going to get with him. Like it's going to be up and down. But if Krejci can have these types of games for them, they can stay afloat for when Trae Young gets back. And we like the Hawks to make some noise in the East if they're fully healthy. And Jalen Johnson's looked pretty good to start the year still. He's not scoring like he was last year before the injury, but I think a lot of that has to do with Trae Young's injury too. So I think Krejci deserves some flowers here to bounce back from a 0-point game and step in and have a 28-point performance and help your team get a win there. Huge night. And I just kept hearing it. I was like, wow, like I gotta shout this guy out this week. Like I knew it right from the moment that I was watching that game where my flowers were going. So shout out to you, Vit.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. That's awesome. Last year he had a few big games against the Celtics. He's got a strap on him, man. Shoot or shoot. So
Shoot to get hot, shoot to stay hot, right?
I love it. I knew when you said he was 9 of 13. At first I thought that was his 3-point line. Then I realized it was just from the field. Then I was like, it's probably not far off from that. And then you were like, he was 8 from 10 from 3. So I'm like, yeah. One of the makes was the only non-3. No, that's great. Atlanta needs it. Atlanta has never had a issue of finding random shooters, and it looks like they got another one with the hockey last name. Anyway, my guy who I'm giving flowers to is a rookie. He's shooting 50, 40, 90 on the season. So 50, 40, 90 splits.
Wow.
And probably a guy that no one was thinking of. And his name is Cedric Coward. And he plays for the
Whoa.
Memphis
Okay.
Grizzlies. A wing, I guess, is how you'd categorize him because he's listed as a forward, but he's a 6'5", so he's like undersized forward. Can obviously shoot because he's shooting 40% from 3, 50.9% field goal percentage, and then 90.5% from the free throw line. Jaw's been in and out of the lineup. Tons of front court injuries for the Grizzlies, so obviously you wouldn't think that he would step in place, but I think just all the injuries they have in general, he's getting more time than he would have. Yeah, like he's averaging 27 minutes a game, so they're giving this guy some run. 14 and a half points per game, 6 rebounds per game, 3 assists per game, and a steal a game to go along with the 50, 40, 90 splits. So probably not too many people knew about him. I mean, he was a lottery pick this year, but Cedric Coward, man, rookie playing for the Memphis Grizzlies. They're playing the Boston Celtics tonight, and there's no Ja, so Coward will probably get some run. But
so the Grizzlies are going to be happy tonight. They're going to be they're going to be in a good mood.
Right? Yeah. Ask the coaching staff. Ask the coaching staff.
What do you think happens with Ja?
I think he gets traded.
I think he's asking to, basically, right?
Right. Like you just gotta they tried it. They had those fun, courageous Grizzlies teams with Triple J and Ja and Bane. Bane's in Orlando now, stinking it up in Orlando, by the way. Jeez, I feel bad for Desmond Bane, man. He can't figure it out. Triple J injured. Zach Edey injured. Ja just causing all sorts of problems. I just don't see it, man. I think they have to move on. They got some good young talent. We met Gigi Jackson. They got Cedric Coward. They still have Zach Edey from last year. They have options with Triple J. I think a lot of teams would like Jaren Jackson Jr., or they can keep him and kind of build around him. But I mean, I'm moving on from Ja Morant, or at least I'm trying to if I'm the Memphis Grizzlies.
Yeah. I think it's time. It's crazy to see how far this has fallen after the heights that they got to. But I think it would be better for everybody involved at this point to just cut bait and see what happens.
Yeah.
But hey,
build around Cedric Coward, I guess.
Yeah, build around Cedric Coward. Go for it. But yeah, man, it's gonna be. There's some drama still left in the league right now to deal with, so it's going to be an interesting season as this goes on. I'm real excited. Where, as I said, people who listen on Thursday, really excited. Your Celtics got a game, my Cavs got a game, but that Lakers Thunder, really excited to see how that kind of turns out and what happens in that game tonight, and just to see the Thunder against these top teams and see how they look. I mean, we saw it against the Rockets in night one, how awesome that game was. But they haven't really played a great team since then. To be honest, the schedule has been pretty easy to rack up a bunch of wins. This is the first test. They're coming off a back-to-back. So I'm really interested to see kind of how they respond and then how they kind of handle Luka and how Luka comes out tonight, because, man, he's been a whirlwind. He's been incredible to start the year. He's Dunny 37, 9, and 9. Like, it's disgusting, absurd.
It's brutal because when a guy's putting up numbers like that, like you go to DraftKings and you try to put a player prop on Luka.
Yeah.
And you get scared because you're like, wait, these are his averages?
You want me to do 34 and a half tonight?
Yeah.
What? And then he's got like 48 and you're like, shit, I guess it was easy.
And speaking of the Lakers, just before we go here, LeBron James did get cleared to play, I believe this afternoon is when he was doing his first 5-on-5 contact with the G League team for the Los Angeles Lakers. So he's ramping up. He's ramping up, man.
If LeBron, and I think he can do this, if he can just fully be like, Luka, what do you need me to do? How can I help you? This is a scary team, because LeBron's still going to be able to, because and Luka hasn't struggled at all this year, but when Luka's off the floor, LeBron's going to be able to carry them in those minutes, which has been the scary part for the Lakers. Not even really, because Reeves has been able to do so much offensively in those minutes too. But we know the two-man game with Reeves and LeBron, like, they just have so many options offensively, where I don't know how much defense this team's going to be able to play this year, especially when you get to a playoff series, like what it's going to look like. but they're going to be able to shoot the hell out of the ball all year long and just run
Mhm.
up and down the floor on teams. And shout out to JJ Redick, because this is really impressive to see. And it seems like they love playing with each other too. Like this team seems like they really genuinely get along. So kudos to them, man.
Yeah, Laravia, Dalton Connects knocking down shots. Marcus Smart is playing meaningful minutes for this team.
Yep.
Rui Hachimura, dude, he's been lights out to start the year. I saw some shooting splits for him, dude. He's just not missing this year. So yeah,
He's
that's a
shooting
good,
58% from the field, 52% from three.
yeah, crazy man. He had someone
That is
broke
the
it down into like distance, like from like 20 to like 24 feet, his field goal percentage, and it was crazy to compare to the rest of the league.
that's the Luka Doncic effect
Yeah.
for sure.
Hey, you guys are gonna be wide open. Just be ready to shoot.
Just be ready. And
So
and the pass will be
great point, man.
perfectly in your pocket where you need to go to just go up right away. Like it's
When
helpful.
LeBron comes back, just another year of these guys meshing. They have a legit, you can make all the jokes you want, but I think this was the vision that the Lakers saw too with Ayton. Like it's just a guy who's capable, and
Yep.
that's enough if you have a guy as talented as Luka and then also LeBron. Just a lot of pressure on opposing defenses. And that's why their defense doesn't really have to be that sound, because their offense is just a juggernaut.
Yeah, man.
So
it's gonna be fun.
yeah, we gave flowers, and then there was a little Lakers preview there for you guys as well. We have a lot of great games tonight, like we mentioned. Our two teams are playing, Lakers are playing. But that's going to do it for Happy Hour Hoops. Nico's been fired. Maybe we'll get a little bit of a Steve snippet to start the show next week, just so he can say his piece and he can get
Under
some
the
closure
jail.
there with the Nico situation. Yeah, he can update us on where Nico's actually at, and yeah, we'll come maybe with some all-star fixes of our own next week as well. So.
You know what? That's actually where Steve is tonight. He's transporting Nico. He volunteered. Yeah. He's like, I'm not even getting paid. Like, I will do this myself.
Like,
I'll bring him where he needs to go.
I got something else I got to deal with.
He's gonna send us a selfie of him and Nico like down 1,000 feet in a hole somewhere.
Like,
just
watching. You can't see it, but Nico Harrison's way down there.
he's watching Thunder Lakers right now.
Yeah. Yeah, forget the highlights. He's like, I'm making you watch this game live. Guys, that's gonna do it for Happy Hour Hoops. Remember to follow us on all socials at Happy Hour Hoops 1. Presented by Trainwreck Sports. Go subscribe to the YouTube, follow, like, all of that good stuff. And we will see you next week, guys. Enjoy the basketball.